I'm Martin Pickering and this is the newly updated Powerbox-Systems Digiswitch, aptly named the Digiswitch V2. This is one of the very first units to be shipped out, so let's have a look at what it does and how and when we should use it. The original Digiswitch was a digital on-off switch with one power lead in and one power lead out. At the same time, it regulated the voltage of the battery that it was connected to. Now, let's have a look at the V2. This thing has a lot of improvements, so let's start with what remains the same before getting into the juicy new stuff. Just like the original, the V2 uses one power lead in and one power lead out. You can choose between two versions of the Digiswitch V2, however they are technologically the same, just one comes with a multiplex connector for the battery and the other comes with a Futaba or JR connector for the battery. That difference aside, they're identical. So, also like the original, it's still a digital on-off switch, meaning there are no mechanical parts that move in order to change the switch state. This makes it safe for use in our models, even those with gas engines with high levels of vibration. As a side note, being a digital switch also means that there's a minuscule power drain even in its off state. So even though leaving a battery connected for a couple of days or even a couple of weeks isn't necessarily a problem, leaving it connected for extended periods of time can eventually fully drain the battery. So just bear that in mind. Oh yeah, and just as a side note, as with anything electrical, please make doubly sure when making a battery connection. A reverse polarity will cause damage to the unit instantly. So, on to the shiny new specs. Let's start with the obvious. The case. The case is significantly smaller in size. The Digiswitch V2's case is made out of milled aluminium and comes with a grey anodised finish. This makes it not only smaller and stronger, it also significantly improves cooling. The result is that the V2's peak load can be up to twice that of its predecessor, so it's capable of handling a little over 10 amps over several seconds. This makes the Digiswitch V2 ideal for F3A models, smallish gliders, 50 E-size electric models, or a little bigger than that if running high voltage, but more on that in a moment. A good test to check that your requirements are not higher than what the Digiswitch V2 can safely handle is to continuously move the surfaces for about 30 seconds. If the switch gets hot to the touch in that time, it's best to swap it out for the larger and more powerful Powerbox sensor V3. Keeping in with the case, the switch, or well, the button in this case, works in the same way as its predecessor. So we simply press and hold the button in for about a second until the LED turns purple. At this point we simply release and tap the switch again. This works both for turning on and for turning off again. Once the unit is on, it will actually stay on, allowing current to pass through it until the same sequence is repeated to instruct it to turn off. What this means is that disconnecting a battery will of course leave you without power, but it doesn't switch it off. So upon reconnection, power will be restored. This can be a lifesaver if for any reason you're unfortunate enough to suffer from a bad connection in a battery or lead, as at any time that there's contact, power will be flowing through as normal. Now, the original Digiswitch only came in one option, and that was regulating down to 5.9 volts. This new version gives us a user programmable voltage regulation, meaning we can choose any voltage at any time. We can go from 6 volts, 7 volts, 7.6 volts, or even unregulated. Now, for those wondering, The benefit of using 7.6 volts as opposed to unregulated is that it removes the spike from a fully charged battery and provides a constant and stable supply regardless of how recently you charged your pack. Now, to choose your desired output voltage on the Digiswitch V2, all we need to do is have it turned off. Hold the button down and connect a battery. Now we simply release the button when the colour matches your desired output voltage. These being green for 6 volts, yellow for 7 volts, purple for 7.6 volts, or red for unregulated. When you release at your chosen voltage, the LED will then flash white a couple of times as a confirmation. Just make sure that your servos, receiver and other electronics can all handle your chosen voltage before connecting them up. We can also power the Digiswitch V2 in a number of different ways, being able to choose between a 2S LiPo, a 2S Li-ion, a 2S Li-Fi or a 5S 9mm pack. As the Digiswitch V2 comes with a multicolour LED that indicates not only its switching state, on or off, but also the state of the battery, it's also important to set what kind of battery we are connecting so that the battery state is accurate. So, to choose your battery input type with the Digiswitch V2 turned on, simply hold in the on-off button, and after holding the button for about 5 seconds, the LED will go out and then light up again in a sequence of colours. Release the button when the colour matches our battery type. These being green for LiPo, blue for Li-ion, red for Li-Fi or white for a 9mm pack. Once completed, the LED will glow in any of the following colours depending on the remaining power left inside the battery pack. So a blue light indicates that the battery is at between 100 and 80%, green is 80 to 60%, yellow 60 to 40%, red 40 to 20%, and flashing red when you're really out of power and you're between 20 and nothing. As different battery types do behave differently, these percentages are not actually linear and are in fact based on the average discharge curve for the type of battery that you have connected. So don't be surprised if when checking with your external tester that you find that the battery is actually above or below the numeric percentage bracket indicated by the Digiswitch's V2 colour LED. Now, as another new incorporation of the Digiswitch is the use of telemetry. Currently only available for the Powerbox core radio, once connected it allows the transmission of battery input voltage and regulator output voltage directly to our radio screen. Simply connect the telemetry data lead to the P2 bus port on your Powerbox receiver and set the appropriate widget on your radio in order to display your chosen data. And that's it, the brand new Powerbox-Systems Digiswitch V2. In short, it's a smaller, more powerful version of the original Digiswitch, a smart switch for a single battery, packed with increased power, programmable outputs, and even telemetry. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, leave us a like, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. With a load more product tutorials, reviews and flying in the works, you're not going to want to miss out. So until then, thanks for watching and I'll see you all in the next one.